And of course, we have to use the diamond rush. Now, since I always take so long in editing, I feel like I need to actually emphasize the last episode ended with the last update, and now this is like the new update before like the update, as in this is like the diamond rush before the update, and I need to be ready because Song of the Crimson Nile will come up. And of course, Astrea's Broken Heart, like now I'm hooked, like then I will have to like continue this as well. Sadly, Heaven's Secret is not up anymore, but I do miss it like all the damn time. But Heaven's Secret Requiem is there. And since we started having those dirty fantasies, let's see what's gonna happen. I'm actually petrified to provoke the bear. But I feel like since it's coming to an end, we have to like go with just one route at this point. So I will have to choose. And I already did, of course, like we all know that I'm going for Cain. But just, if there's the opportunity, I will continue to play. But if not, like I'm not gonna fuck up my opportunity with Cain, because Cain is already fragile enough as it is. And we're tapping into whether or not he knew us before we like lost our memory. But before I talk too much about that, we're here for Astrea's Broken Heart. I'm still petty AF about the fact that they decide to actually shove David and CASSIEL into her face. Like, I have the feeling that David is like the main female male love interest. And then there is CASSIEL, Raphael, and Mikael. Like, as in that category, like moving down. Like, when was the last time that we saw Mikael or Raphael? Like, I had this conversation with my friend in the comment section. Like, this is some ridiculous ass bullshit. Like, I love David, but if you actually give us multiple love interests and make time for those different love interests, I think it was like 2 episodes where Raphael wasn't even in it. What is with the person that actually desperately wants Raphael as a lover? He never there? Like, this is ridiculous. And I do understand, like, I have to agree with you, I really do. Like, it actually gives off the vibes of the general. Like, whether or not you actually want to be with this man, the story or the author doesn't really give you an opportunity to choose. They just tell you. You go with... back in the day when I was still hating on Greg for the BS he pulled, they made us go with Greg and Anna. And Cain had to go with the general. Then all the immortals had to fly on top, and we had to go with the general on a hiking spree. And then we were like swashed away with the camera. Like, where they actually forced us to could entertain the fact that this man was actually kissing us in the water. The fuck? Like, stop pushing those lovers on it. Like, I would understand, even though I'm an David lover, I would understand why people then hate on David. Like, the fuck? Let me have a different love interest too. Like, you're not the only most beautiful one in here. Like, there are also a lot of others. But no matter, before I get too much agitated, I haven't even started. Season 2, episode 5. Demons and angels are not the scariest things you can encounter. I bet. Yo, I'm so fucking agitated, like I haven't even started. Episode 5, Underwater. Vada taught that fear was a gift, something one wasn't supposed to run away from. It cleared the mind of unnecessary sinful thoughts. The heck? Fear? It rid one of the need of idle reasoning and the search for false conclusions. And if the veil of fear was thick enough, faith would indeed be blind. So when I was an obedient child and was terrified throughout her childhood, thus expressing her devotion to the cold path of skepticism, and though fate never came to her, her father was satisfied enough with her pure, deep-seated terror. It was this terror that took her by the hand and led her to the church, and tonight it was that same terror that led her to the beast that awaited her at the end of her nightmare. Right. The last nightmare... not the last nightmare. The last episode ended with us actually dreaming of the beast actually calling us. That dream dissolved without a trace in the morning light, but Simona could have sworn that they truly had met. Well, what does he look like then? Or she? The proof was in the delicate thin streak of grey shimmering in her hair, a gift that the morning light had no power to dissolve. What the hell? What kind of fear must you experience to wake up with a streak of grey hair? Sorry, like maybe it's just for the story, but is that a thing? Simona stared at herself in the mirror in confusion. She recalled her father's distant words stuck in her childhood. And if this actually has to do like with stress, or they're using mental illness in order like to highlight this, let me tell you, I have seen the darkest sides of mental illness, and let me tell you, it does not work like this. Like you actually look perfectly healthy on the inside. It's the fight within that no one knows about, so no one sees that you're not fine. So if they're actually saying the pain is so powerful that it's actually showing on the outside too, forget it. That's not how it works. If he now prayed to the beast, then her reaction to their meeting would surely have pleased him. Perfect, unspeakable terror. Simona suddenly felt empty. It was as if all the emotions she was capable of had been consumed by the night. Her apathy was replaced by a fanciful, stubborn desire to detach herself from what had happened. Simona was eager and relieved to give in to this weakness. She decided to simply erase the mark of the nightmare from herself. She would not mention the troubling subject to anyone. She ordered her hair dye and began to wait for the easiest problem-solving of her life. It was hard to tell how much time had passed, but to the tired Simona the wait didn't seem long. Simona didn't run into anyone on her way to the courier. She returned to her room just as quietly and occupied her mind with the simplest tasks. She concentrated solely on the task at hand. She showered first and changed her clothes. Y'all, they are actually tripping. Again, they are fucking tripping. Even though I would, like, wear that. Let me be an elegant bitch. Whatever. I would never wear a skirt, though. I have my problem with skirts. People used to tell me that I looked ugly in them, and now it kind of manifested. Like, I can't wear skirts or dresses. I feel like I look ugly in them. Then she covered up the reminder of the horror she had experienced in her dream. I don't know. I'm mostly making her wear platinum hair, so... And like a coward, she decided that nothing had happened. There was no father gripping her shoulders so tightly, no beast towering before her as a mass of unspeakable terror. Honestly, and that's what makes her fucking stupid. Sorry. I have no regret in saying that, because she knows what happened about her keeping quiet and pretending that everything is fine. Like, the beast almost got her, she almost got sacrificed, she bled out, she actually died, if Mikael wouldn't have been there to actually heal her. Even though he said he can't heal souls, but he kind of was capable to reunite our broken soul with our body in order, like, to heal us and make us come back to the world of the living. We would be dead, we would be gone. And she continues doing the exact same mistake that actually got her in that mess. If she actually is having like those vivid nightmares where the beast is trying to reach out to her, then she has to fess up. Because even though they're not actually saying shit about what's actually going on and about how much they actually know about the beast and about what it's actually capable of, we know that they mean well for us. And even if they wouldn't tell us shit, now that we actually have seen that they're all celestials, they're all immortals, then we know that they actually have the capability to keep us safe. Like, that's what would be the most important to me. Like, sooner or later, when the fear reaches its peak, I would just be happy to surround myself with people that truly mean well for us. And they do. I mean, it's fucked up that they don't tell us everything, but maybe this is out of their hand. Maybe they literally cannot talk about it. Like, that she continues to actually just shut the fuck up and try to pretend that everything is fine. I hope that someone notices that she actually colored her hair. That they had freed her from that nightmare. I could smack the shit out of her, like, I'm not even kidding. She threw herself eagerly into its bright, warm embrace. You can come into my embrace, like I'm gonna smack the shit out of you. She forced a smile in the mirror and headed for the living room. I hate those fake smiles. The upcoming meeting with furious and numbness evoked nothing in her this time, but a slight weariness. I wouldn't tell them shit, but I would tell the boys shit. Simona wasn't even upset when she realized that there was no one else in the room but her superiors. Their sullen, arrogant faces were just faces. The words they spewed were just words. They posed no threat. Still, but I still wouldn't tell them shit, because you see, while those boys, those fine-ass men, aka Michael, I feel so bad again for what I said about him in the finale. This man just came off as awful to me. Like, his attitude was so shady and I was just done with any bullshit. But, like, this man actually just showed that him actually keeping us at the house actually meant protecting us. Like, we really were capable to go out. Like, we had that conversation, and after that, we went to Michael, and he said, yes, we can go. They don't want to keep us prisoners, okay? They don't want to have us locked up. They want us to continue with our lives, and they're willing to actually make sure that we have that normal human experience. Meanwhile, these two bitches over here, they don't. They were willing to actually have us locked up. Greet them reservedly. Simona nodded slightly at the space between the men and paused for a moment. Good morning. Take a seat. Whatever you say, big guy. Your behavior's worthy of respect. Sooner or later, they will acknowledge that I'm about to jump out the window. Sooner or later, I'm dead, bitch. I'm not immortal. So Michael told you everything? That depends on what you mean. It was up to her to choose the right words, but she was tired of doing that too, so Simona decided to be blunt. Sometimes it's better, like, why do I need to waste so much energy? If you mean about your heavenly nature, then yes, he did. Aren't you scared at all? I'm done. Summoners gave her a grim, crooked smile as if to say, if you're not, I can fix that. You know good son of a bitch. I prefer to be glad that I'm on the side of such supernatural beings instead of being upset about their existence. Upset? You should be terrified to look them in the eye after what you've learned. No. In my eyes, I'm petrified of those that actually give me a reason to fear them. Those cute little bitches did not give me any reason to be scared of them. You two, on the other hand. Simona held back her rising indignation. She replied coldly. Their attitude toward me hasn't changed, so why should mine toward them? Fury snorted irritably into nothing, then turned his fiery gaze back on her. I agree with her on that one. Like, their attitude hasn't changed. I just know about their true nature, so what? This idle chat infuriates me. Then why are you still here? Understand that you're here purely by chance. Any of the 7 victims these wretches could have saved could have been in your place. And you're not so unique and astonishing to our worthless subordinates because they have spent hundreds of years in isolation. I just want him dead. Like, can someone shoot him? An ordinary human emotion rose indignantly inside of her, a sense of self-importance. There are plenty of people outside. Just step out the door. This isn't a prison. I don't think your subordinates haven't seen a woman in hundreds of years, or whatever you're implying. Furious exhaled loudly in irritation. Honestly, I love the sass she has towards them, like me. I'm not special? Fine, you can think that I'm nothing special, but your subordinates think differently. I have them all wrapped around my finger. Somnus continued the thought cold-bloodedly. There are mortals on the other side of that door, girl. Even the thought of a connection with a human is laughable to us, and equal beings simply haven't visited them. So, that I understand. Somnus and Furious, or whatever his name is, they are kind of racists. Like, there's like the world of the immortals, as in angels, demons, and then there's the world of the humans. And they think they are above us because they have powers, etc. So we are like the weaker species. So they are more important than us. Just like a lot of people still do, like the Nazis, with dark-skinned people. I don't want to say black people because I don't want to offend anyone by saying it. Because in my eyes, I don't think I'm insulting anyone. I mean, I hope no one has ever felt offended, because I don't know if you all have seen my face, but I'm not dark-skinned, like I'm light. And I have chosen the MC from Song of the Crimson Nile that is dark-skinned. I never felt that I offended anyone, but if I did, like, I apologize. Again, I want everyone to feel welcome, and in my eyes, all these problems that are outside in the world, like people not understanding the real meaning of mental diseases, about how much your emotions can actually have an impact on your daily life, on that the more pain you feel inside of yourself, the more impulsive you become, because the more mental illnesses you have to actually support, actually wrap your head around, the more it becomes difficult for you to actually contain how much those mental illnesses actually make you feel pain and sorrows. And that makes you automatically become impulsive, even though you're more the logical person. And the problem, like with the Nazis, that the white, light-skinned people are like the superior species. Like, I have never understood it. In my eyes, people are people. That's just the same with like gays and bisexuals, like transsexuals. Let people just be who they want to be. We only have one light. Like, let us live the life that we want without having to fear about being judged and all the damn time. Like, a lot of people can't even get everything they want out of life. So let me at least enjoy what I'm actually capable to achieve in this lifetime. Like, all this trouble, I don't get it. A lot of people still feel upset about the fact that bisexuals, gays, lesbians are a thing. They still feel upset about it as if the world hasn't dealt with worse. Just like with that. Like, I remember I had a friend, and she is dark-skinned. And she was like, you are very different from the other white people that I've met. And in my eyes, the only thing that I actually was capable to actually pronounce, I don't understand the slander against people that have a darker skin, when we as the light folk go into the sun in order to make our skin become darker. Yet we slander people that were born with a darker skin by nature. I don't understand. This is like the ridicule in our society. Why don't we just deal with worse things? Like with actual important things. Now I need to actually worry that I'm born as a dark person because that makes me a bad person, it makes me a criminal. Like all this BS, like for no fucking reason. I don't get it. But let's continue. Samnus resorted to a metaphor to illustrate his point. Not this man deciding to actually do my job. Their attachment to you is like an attachment to a puppy left on their doorstep. Oh, hell no. He did not actually go like this. No one would intentionally look for it on the street, but out of the goodness of their heart they opened the door and let you in. Oh, hell no. Path of high reputation, of course they were presented with the finest specimen of its kind. You'd have to be a fool not to accept the obvious, but only of its own kind. What did I say? Racists! Racists! You've managed to make them forget what you really are. It's surprising, but it's true. And as for Raphael thinking you could influence the outcome, that remains to be proven. Bitch, bye. And like what Salmanus just said, that was him saying that we just used our sex appeal like nothing else happened. Like, this has nothing to do with our intelligence or intellect. We used our sex appeal to actually play their weakness, which is them actually being Sims, for a nice cutie or more like a sassy woman. And that made them actually overlook the fact that we're actually a human being. Like someone that is capable to do nothing. Someone that they will lose one way or another. I do not believe you are capable of giving the beast anything other than your life. Of course, you may have been misled by some of our prodigious actions, but do not be mistaken about them. Someone like David wouldn't hesitate to break another's neck. I've seen. Yes, he'll kill anyone, as anyone in this house would. But he won't kill for you. He'll kill for what he thinks is his. Oh, hell no. He did not actually say this. He won't kill for you. He'll kill for what he thinks is his. As in, that was them saying, yes, he claimed you as his, but this has nothing to do with him actually having feelings for you. He does not give a damn about you. He just says, because of the fact that we're like one of the prestigious, I would assume this has to do because of the fact that we have like higher reputation points. He has claimed us as his, as in he says that we are his. But this has nothing to do with him actually having feelings for us. This has more to do with the fact that he decided that we belong to him. That was out of his opinion. Nothing to do with his emotions. And he just feels the need to actually beat the shit out of people that think that they can take away what's his, because he already claimed us. It's just greed and inability to control himself, right? You say. But it's never too late to educate him. I'll take care of that. Samna smiled dreamily as if he wanted to participate in the training process himself. They are so ridiculous. And why the fuck do they only feel the need to actually train David? He drawled lazily. Yes, mad dogs need to be kept on a leash or they'll start taking too many liberties. And these malevolent creatures stand above us, above humanity. If all immortals are like this, then I want to stay far away from them. No wonder the Astreans would rather live here than where you come from. Let's go. Humans are much simpler and kinder. No, we actually have humanity. That's like the point here. These guys actually refuse to adapt to humanity. They have like this demon kind of a nature that actually prohibits them to actually get too deep into human territory, which also means that they never actually adapted to humanity. And I'm not talking about actually the humanity, but about the emotions that only human beings can provide, which is like kindness, resourcefulness, etc. Like, you'll get the deed. Simplicity and trust. What more does one need for happiness? What did I say? No. Simona's reasoning brought smiles to the superiors' faces. I don't know who you're dreaming of, but believe me, you're not the center of this wretched place. You aren't either. You're a temporary, lovable, temporary refuge. And even if they do have some perverse feelings for you, well... The fuck? He did not actually say perverse feelings. Let Michael hear this. I'm sorry, I think Michael is a menace. The breath of death has deceived far wiser beings. Oh, hell no. They actually are threatening us for those that actually aren't capable to read between the lines here. The breath of death has deceived far wiser beings. He just said either normal death will come for you, which will separate you all, or hand. As in, if they actually should have romantic feelings towards you and that should actually cloud their judgment or whatever, we won't have a problem killing you. Because if we actually killed you, then the beast can sacrifice you. Death, aren't you immortal? Gerald, the stale scent of the grave surrounds Astrea. That's why its inhabitants crave life so fiercely. Fate drew you into their claws. It threw you like a bone to hungry dogs. They don't care what animal was skinned for the occasion. They don't care what shape or substance the bone is. And if you try to take away a hungry dog's source of amusement, it'll bite your hand off without hesitation. Oh yes, everyone here is an insanely greedy, sinful creature. And if one of them wishes to possess you, it will not be a blessing, foolish child. It will be a punishment. It's time to end this conversation. Get to the point, please, because ever since we came here, they only have been insulting us. Simona ignored the ambiguous hints. She spoke with determination. I'm ready to be your ally, so why are you so stubbornly trying to write me off? Yes, I may seem insignificant to you, and maybe compared to you I am, but fate can be surprising. Even a butterfly can change the course of its history, albeit by accident. There was silence and an absence of malicious smiles. This confirmed that she was on the right track. Simona took a deep breath and continued. I'm not afraid of your white and black wings. I'm afraid of what awaits all of us. And if a battle with the beast is inevitable, isn't it better to fight together on the same side? I'm not asking for your favor or respect. I'm asking to be allowed to stand by your side. Simona's thoughtful, slightly sleepy gaze was mesmerizing. Perhaps you've enchanted everyone in this house with your foolish acting resolve. Your struggle is rather pathetic, but there is something to it, something worthy of respect. He says as he says that we're ridiculous and pathetic. Somnus likes your words, he says as he insulted us. Since you like it here so much, let us continue your introduction to our world. Let's test the sincerity of your intentions. And at the same time, let's see what David has learned from his last lesson. And if our troublesome subordinate truly seeks redemption, Sumner's red eyes flash unkindly. He spoke in what was almost a hiss. I chose this task for you personally. I hope you like the sea and mysteries hidden in its depths. Depends. It actually reminds me of Heaven's Secret. David and Felony accompanied her. How? Y'all, I'm about to actually claw my eyes out. Again, David. Y'all, I love David, but the fuck? When is Michael coming with us? When is Raphael coming with us? I think Raphael and CASSIEL were only with us on like two... No, let me say it differently. CASSIEL was with us on 2 missions. Raphael was with us on 1 mission. And Michael was on none. And David, I'm pretty sure... Hold up. The club. Then now this. Then the beginning of the season with the crazy woman. Then us actually going to that old man where the old owner was living in the basement. He's everywhere. He's always there. Simona knew that David was probably being tested as much as she was. I don't give a damn, put someone else in the team too. But he did everything he could to pretend that nothing terrible was happening. And as soon as she brought up the relationship, he was immediately fired up and ready to fight. He disregarded the need to keep his distance. It was as if just hearing the word relationship drove him wild. He was like a little kid. He couldn't hear anything else. Valonia remained silent the entire time. It was clear that their encounter with the possessed girls had left its mark on her, that Simona didn't know how to help her, no matter how much she wanted to. Their destination turned out to be a small port town. David and Felonia genuinely enjoyed the vast landscape. They didn't pay much attention to what was going on around them. I wonder if there's anything like the sea where they come from. On the picturesque shore, they were greeted by a man, a former sailor who now organized tours on various vessels. He even owned a ship that was equipped with modern amenities on the inside, but remained decrepit and old on the outside. Its wooden hull was the first thing Simona noticed. Sharp, high masts and impeccable black sails, a true pirate's gem. The story itself added a touch of romantic mystery to the place. One ship didn't return from its voyage in full, or rather it had to be towed back home, alone and abandoned by its guests and crew under unexplained circumstances. A ghost ship. The man kept shrugging apologetically as he told his story. It was only a matter of time before lawsuits from the relatives of the missing would start pouring in. He could be saved from the fines by previously signed documents that freed him from responsibility, but what could restore the reputation of a man who lost a group of tourists at sea? Damn! Despite all the hardships that had befallen him, his voice remained firm. It was the voice of a real old-school sailor, used to arguing with the raging elements, who of course didn't care about the character of the one who dared to challenge them. The ship was drifting in open water. God knows where she was pushed back from. The first mate and I went abroad, but there wasn't a soul there. Generally speaking, this isn't the first story of its kind. The question is, what exactly does Sumnus plan to scare me with? Tell me, did you find any clues on board? Anything that might describe their last minutes on the ship? All their belongings were left in place, no distress signals were sent. They really seemed to have just vanished. While on the open sea, there's only one way out. If the crew jumped overboard, we'll never find their bodies. The secret round with them. Were there any signs of a struggle? Could they have moved to another ship willingly or not? If whoever picked them up was a friend, my people would have shown up by now. And they wouldn't willingly live with someone who wishes them harm, but there was no sign of a struggle. Simona could think of a few ways to make someone act without resorting to physical violence. Were there any children on board? Only 2 crew members and 3 tourists, all young men. So it's unlikely that someone could have threatened to harm one of them to ensure compliance. Did the police inspect the ship? Of course. Their conclusion is that it was an accident. The ship got caught in bad weather and people fell overboard. All of them? One person fell first and the others jumped into her. So let me get this straight. One person fell overboard and every single other person on board jumped after him. Is your team so incompetent that they would just dive in after each other? So she understood it the same way, okay? That's what the police think. I'm so sorry. That's what the police think. They actually think that one person fell into the water and everyone else that was safe and sound on the boat actually jumped after him. Let's go, of course. I'm convinced otherwise. Even the lifeboats are still in place. I think I cursed this ship. You think? The frank confession was hard for him. The man slept guiltily. Cursed? How? I renamed her when I divorced my wife or passed the verge too painfully. The ship used to be called Medicine. Oh no. The man blushed and said after a beat, what happened? Heartbreak. I like to see it with my own eyes. Of course you would. Take a look then. No, I'm sorry. The more I got used to David's bitch-ass attitude, the more I started to dig his outside beauty. But still, I think it's fucked up that we're always being shoved down David's throat. Again, I love David. I'm struggling between this man, Raphael, and Mikael. I really am. But now again, why am I hating on David right now? Because I only get David and I rarely get Mikael and Raphael. Like, that's not possible. How long has it been since we've seen Raphael? Episode 3. If I don't see Raphael and Mikael in this episode, I swear to God, I'm stopping. This is not even a joke. Like, let me see other people too. Like, this is exactly like the General and Kane. Like, we all want to see Kane, and we always get shoved down General's throats. The author, petty. The police didn't consider the ship a crime scene or anything like that, so they returned her to me. The invitation sent a shiver down Simona's spine. She both feared and longed to see the cursed ship with her own eyes. Since it's back in your possession, maybe we could retrace the route your crew took. If you don't mind spending a few hours on her, why not? The man gestured for everyone to follow him. In that case, I'll be your captain for today. Welcome aboard, everyone. That's funny. Cute. Y'all, I'm so fucking pissed right now. How is it possible that we only get David? Like, what if I want to be sandwiched, y'all? Like, they don't even actually give me opportunity to use my wild imagination. The sea breathed deeply and calmly. It gently nudged the ship from side to side like a caring mother rocking her baby's cradle. Its soft whisper tempted Simona with sleep. She wanted to wrap herself in the dark surface of the water like a blanket and drift away. How can something so beautiful be so terrifyingly dangerous? I'll leave the beautiful view to the ladies and go below deck. David headed for the cabin. Felonia moved slowly toward the ship's railing. Where should I go? Go down and talk to David. At this point, if I can get all 3 of my men, I use the opportunity to, wrap my arms around David. What other opportunity do I have, ladies and gentlemen? Simona stepped carefully down the creaky wooden steps, ducking her head to avoid hitting the low ceiling. The cabin was tiny and dim. David rummaged through the shelves without much enthusiasm and found nothing of interest. On the table lay a journal. The last entry was cut off mid-sentence. Next to it stood a half-finished cup of tea with a small circle on the mold on the surface. The image of frozen time was airy, and Simona spoke up to distract herself. Why do you think Sumner sent us here? There is no one I can talk to as an evaluator. What can I do to help? If he actually sent us here to test us, then I don't think that he actually brought us here so that we can actually do real work. I feel like he or everyone just felt the need to actually make us see what we're up against if we continue being around those celestial beings. Actual danger. David didn't stop searching as he explained. They're just trying to scare you. They think you're timid. Well, the situation is strange, of course, but it's not exactly frightening. We just started. David looked up and smiled sweetly. That's because we haven't figured out what happened yet. He obviously had many more possibilities in mind due to his extraordinary origin. Simon, on the other hand, was only just beginning to expand the boundaries of her old world. Honestly, is he ever gonna tell us that he slaughtered those? What could it be? Anything. Oh, don't take offense. I'm still not used to you knowing everything, and the fact that we don't have to choose always carefully. Speaking of which, Simona paused dramatically, then exhaled. So, a demon. As real as it gets at your service. Hilarious. David gave her a playful bow, as if it were a fun job title and not being her religious parent had to use to scare her throughout her childhood. Well, it really suits him. He's so attractive. He is attractive, but I still would have preferred to actually be sandwiched. Okay? Raphael and Mikael win. I don't think we actually had a kissing scene with Mikael before. He hugged us when he thought that he had lost us forever, but that was about it. When? Like the forbidden fruit, like sin itself. Well, you see, the thing here is, as much as I love to have the devil, like, you know, the demon by my side. I love to corrupt pure souls, like not necessarily corrupt as in turn them evil or something, but like actually I love to play with people's with my sex appeal, you know? I love to provoke the darkest sins inside of a human being, okay? And like here with those celestials, Raphael and Mikael are angels, trying to be as kind and as non-dirty minded as possible, and I want to actually convince them otherwise, you see? David caught her gaze and grinned mischievously. And what are you up to, demon? David could read your gaze. I'm trying to figure out where a bunch of mortals disappeared to from this little ship. But on a global scale? End of sadness flashed in his sly smile, but it quickly vanished. I try to live a modest life on Earth and not to interfere with global affairs. That's a big responsibility, you know. Very big? Just look at our poor Michael. I wish I could, but he's never there. He used to be a handsome fellow. Excuse me? But his high position under terrible responsibilities have worn him down. I would not be so sure about that. I'm pretty sure that he can squash you. Simona couldn't hold back a snicker. Worn him down. He's perfect, period. Like a statue of deity. Without a single flaw. Is that so? Simona bit her tongue and tried to turn it into a joke, but David interrupted her mid-sentence. I'm not afraid of rivals. Really now? And if you want to make a game a little more interesting, I don't mind. The fuck, this man is actually fine with the devil's circle, y'all. David said that with a smile, but she still felt uneasy. The fuck is going on? Don't say that, David. I was just joking. I'm being completely serious. He can see it. Even the most perfect appearance can be tainted, but we play fair, right? And a treasure like you is worth fighting for. Bye! The ship's owner joined them below deck, interrupting their conversations. And when I hurried away, it was impossible for 3 people to move around in the crammed room. David was happy to chat with you. Thank you. Your friendship has improved. Cute. Where should I go? Approach Felonia. Felonia was slightly hunched over, her elbows resting on the railing. She gazed into the vast distance. There was something touching about her uncharacteristic posture. It drew Simona to her like a magnet. Luckily, we have plenty of reasons to start a conversation. Were you able to find out who Emma's father went to for help? Felonia didn't turn to look at the evaluator standing next to her. She replied, I think you can guess. Someone I know? I feel like more. Do more? What a strange guess. No. Then I would have to say Malik. Yes. Our good Samaritan helped him get out of prison and then charged him a cent. I guess all he asked in return was a touching life story. She really has a problem with that fucking life story. Girl, let it go. Perhaps. An unexpected but very logical thought crossed Simona's mind. I mean, it's weird that someone actually just asked for a story instead of money. But still, like, that's his decision. If he doesn't want money but a story, let him. Like, all of these people that actually make a deal with this man actually are fine with the consequences. Fel, is Malik one of your kind too? An immortal? Felonia pressed her lips together. She was clearly not yet used to discussing her nature so freely with immortals. There was another pause. It was one that What? It was one that Simona was terribly tired of. One caused by the need to choose the right words. No, Malik isn't one of us. Neither a demon nor an angel. Is he maybe the wolf? So he's human. In a way, it was comforting to know that not everyone around her was all-powerful or immortal. He may not be an immortal, but that doesn't mean he's human. She suddenly had an overwhelming desire for Fel to feel the same way, for the wounds in her heart to heal, if only for a moment. I feel like if I leave her alone all the damn time, then it would be shitty. Oh, you know what? Who cares? The quiet evening provided a sense of intimacy. It seemed like the light mist over the water could easily hide any awkwardness. Simona gathered her courage. Well, I could talk to Mikael. I'll try to find out what he knows about your family. He's been very open with me lately. Felonia's head twitched uncertainly. She didn't dare turn around. She just glanced sideways at the evaluator. You don't have to. Of course I have to, but I really want to help you. Felonia finally turned around. She spoke too softly. Michael is following orders. If he's been told to keep quiet, it'll be difficult to get to him to talk. I don't want to sound overconfident, but I think he really needs something from me too. Samnes openly said I'm like an aunt to all of you. I don't think he would be so eager to deal with me if I were just a failed victim. Felonia fell silent again. Simona thought she was working up the courage to accept her offer. They can take what they need by force, you understand that, right? If you resist too much, your life in Astrea will take a very different turn. The attempt to scare or warn her failed, now that all suspicions about Astrea had been proven unfounded. Simona had no more doubts. I'm sorry, Fel, but I don't believe that. They're truly good people. They're not people. You keep forgetting that. Yes, they are people. Even if you see them as angels, like, an angel is still a person in my eyes. Like, they just have wings on their back. And that Raphael crippled hundreds of mortals in that village, right? Yes, but he saved me. And did you know that David came back and finished him off? Period. We didn't know that. This time she couldn't respond as easily. She couldn't wrap her mind around the thought of David being a murderer. It seemed so wild that it felt almost unreal. David went there and not to play. He said, I'm not playing with y'all. But her feelings were stronger than her reason. That's when people say love makes you blind. I mean, I did react the exact same way. I mean, the thought of actually seeing, again, I feel like actually hearing that someone was actually willing to fight for you, as in even getting physically hurt, just in order, like, to defend you. Like, to make sure that you don't have anything to fear anymore, that you can sleep at night. In my eyes, it's cute. But on the other side, actually being in front of the scene and actually seeing someone actually, like, use knives or even, like, hands or demon capabilities, like to slash people's wrists open or, like, to separate people's bodies from their head. Like, this is a different scene. So, again, it sounds nice. But at the other side, we now know that they are angels and demons. They will always feel the need to actually do this. They become physical, all of them. Like, Raphael is an angel and he crippled them. And David actually slaughtered them all. And when Michael had the conversation with David, we actually saw the small detail where it was actually shown that Michael felt the need to do the exact same thing that David did. He was willing to go into that village and kill them all too. But first off, he couldn't anymore because David already took care of it. And on the other side, he tried to have his reasoning be more powerful than his impulsiveness. So he would have refused to do so. But in my eyes, the thought alone counts as well. Samnes said that's normal for all of you. Felonia gave in. It's good that it doesn't scare you. There's that. Apparently her lecture was over. Simona shifted awkwardly from foot to foot. Time to change the subject. Do you have a big family? I have brothers and a sister and a father. Are they all demons too? Yes, of course. Have you lived among humans for long? It depends on how you look at it. From moral's perspective, long enough. For an immortal, a mere moment. How does it feel to you? It feels like I'm stuck in this place that time has stopped. Why can't you go back home? Have they finally mustered up the courage to ask? Felonia's strange smile reminded Simona that it was none of her business. If you don't want to, then... No, I'll tell you. In our world, I was something called a soldier, a mercenary, call it what you want, so was my father. We both served. Was there a war? There was countless wars, but we participated in others, the kind that are not fought on the battlefield but in the shadows. I served the tyrant, a madman. I killed those who couldn't be openly killed. I hunted them like animals. I waited, lived within their walls, and struck them from behind. Of course, we can call this mercenary. I'm just gonna call it a bounty hunter, though. Like, of course, we're not actually being paid, but it still kind of sounds to me like a bounty hunter. Like, I get the name, I hunt them down, I make sure that they don't know who it was, so that no word can be spread, and I get rid of them. So, there was no honor in my service, only orders, and the only rule was to leave no witnesses. See? Felonia spoke of this simply without remorse, and her calmness was terrifying. I mean, at this point, you would have just having to admit defeat. Like, it happened, I couldn't do shit about it. My hands were tied. What happened to the one who served you? It was overthrown. If my father and I had been on this other side, we would have been heroes. But instead, all his followers were killed. The most valuable were imprisoned. And the most dangerous were to put to sleep, so we couldn't even think of escaping the hell. I'd been thousands of years like that. When I woke up, the whole world had changed. They let you go? They actually put her somewhere where she could, like, sleep it off? The hell? They made a deal with me and with David. He was one of them that served them too? Dang! You could say we're companions in misfortune, although he was released much earlier. What was the deal? The beast said, or ours. It's simple. The hell. Wow. No wonder that both of them, like, feel the need to actually take all these missions seriously. How old are they? Older than you, that's more important. Michael said you're facing the gallows, so he wasn't speaking metaphorically. No, it's true. But aren't you all immortal? Felonia didn't want to give the evaluator another lecture. She tried to answer briefly. An immortal can only be killed by another immortal if they wish it. Oh, so they're actually using this like heaven's secret. Like, you can only kill an immortal if they truly desire to kill you. And of course, if the blow is fatal. But if they don't desire to kill you, you will wake up again. God damn, like, imagine this happening for centuries and centuries. Humans, diseases, none of that can harm us. Time spent on earth can age us, but before banishing us to the soul, our kind God created Astrea. Within its walls, time truly stands still. That's why they all prefer to be inside the house. Like, their faces / they don't age. Simona imagined a guillotine. Her imagination vividly painted a picture of Felonia with her head bowed over the wooden block. What barbarity! I took all my father's deeds upon myself. And he agreed to that so easily? I don't think he had a choice. It wasn't exactly easy. He had to gouge out his eyes so the judges couldn't read his past in them. Not gouge out his eyes! He clawed them out! My God. Simona didn't want to explore that bloody subject any further. She instinctively clung to what seemed safer. Can you read the past in someone's eyes? Yep, all of us immortals can. So take care of them, your windows to the soul. Oh God. So that's why David was capable to actually say that shit. Hold up. Wouldn't that also mean that they could actually see that I kissed Raphael? There was silence, and when I tried to figure out who was standing in front of her, Felonia thought about how to continue her confession. I was released and sent to Michael. As if remembering something funny, Felonia smiled. I wanted to wring my neck. I killed so many of his friends. Whole family. I mean, demons and angels kind of are rivals. But I couldn't disobey orders or honest soldier. No wonder that this man and Felonia have like this hostility towards one another. The only thing he refused to do was live under the same roof as me. To share a home with me. So I'd better hurry up with my mission and not linger on Earth. Felonia's face actually showed bloodlust. It was deep-seated, hidden far beneath a mask of indifference. I mean, after everything that she's seen, she would be feeling some type of way about this too. But I understand why Mikael actually wouldn't want to live in the same house. Like, imagine this woman didn't only kill friends of his, but also, like, his parents. Not today, my good sis. And then a long-awaited question flickered in her eyes. Are you willing to help me now? I am, no matter what. Of course, we're friends after all. Again, I did say not lovers, because I feel like this would be too much. Like, I already narrowed, like, my options. If it's, like, a friendship thing, then, of course, I will continue taking the romantic / the gem options. But romantically, no. We're friends. I'll talk to him when we get back to Astrea. And if necessary, I'll give him an ultimatum. This is about your family. Keeping you in the dark is cruel. We've had enough cruelty, and enough of spilling the blood of others. Blessed innocence. Well, then let me be innocent. Let me be cute. No one has fought for Felonia like you. She really appreciates it. You're welcome. As if it's in our power to decide if the world has enough blood. Sorry. The land around us is dry. It waits for sultry rain that can quench its thirst. Fel's words reminded Simona of her dream of the bloody river. Her heart pounded in her throat, dull and fast, as if sensing its beat. Felonia suddenly softened. Why are you actually helping me? Simona thought the answer was obvious. I like you, Fel. You like me? Oh, I think that was like the romantic option. Oh well, happens. Next time I feel the need, I automatically click the gem options without actually understanding what it means. I think this was like, in my eyes, like I call my friends, like the people I truly treasure, I say I love you. In my eyes, it's normal. Like, Astrea knows. I'm pretty sure I said it a dozen times already. Like, I say I love you because in my eyes, there's no bigger word than I love you. And saying I like you is like weaker. I don't really view it in a romantic way when I say I love you, you see? So maybe the story here is taking it a little more differently than me. Felonius raised an eyebrow in surprise and looked at her with a strange new expression. You're doing all this because you're trying to win my favor? It sounded ridiculous coming from her lips. Simona wanted to deny it immediately. I'm not trying to make you like me. I want you to be happy, as much as possible. But I clearly found no joy in her confession. At least I didn't confess my love to her. How embarrassing. Express your thoughts about her. Honestly, explaining my feelings are complicated because we make it complicated. I would just say my thoughts, why I treasure you. You're much better than you want to seem. I know that. And I believe you deserve to be happy. The silence was broken only by the sound of the sea. Simona listened to its voice. She wondered how she could slip away and leave this awkward situation behind. In my eyes, there is no such thing as feeling like embarrassment from actually just admitting that you have humanity. I like you too, Simona. Really. The unexpected confession flashed through Simona and filled her with a dizzying hope. You're alive, you're real. And if we'd met at another time under other circumstances, everything could have been different. Felina was suddenly very close. Simona hadn't even noticed the scent of sea salt being replaced by a powdery fragrance. Oh god. And this is all I can. Simona didn't have time to understand what she meant. All her thoughts were cut off by the thin fingers on the back of her neck. With a single tug, Felonia pulled her closer and crushed her lips together. Oh my god. Take it all in, bitches. Like, we're still playing, apparently. I regret nothing, okay? Like, apparently we can still play. Like, I trust my friend Astrea in the comment section. She knows what she's talking about. Like, she said we can still play, so I'm gonna continue playing. Simona hadn't admitted it to herself before, but now she knew for certain she had wanted this for a long time. I want this with Mikael, truth be told. Like, when can we actually smooch his fine ass? She wanted to feel those thin, delicate fingers on her. She wanted to taste Fel's lips. She wanted to feel what Felonia wanted, but Simona wanted it so badly, but the moment she got it, she felt deceived. Deceived by what? Oh, that looks so cute. There was no tenderness or passion in the kiss, none of the emotions that were the hardest to contain in moments like this. It felt like there was nothing there. The only thing clearly represented on Felonia's soft lips was despair. I mean, especially if you feel that you can't allow yourself to actually open up to, like, a mortal soul because they will die and you will still be here. That would be, like, the curse of, like, immortality. Like, they are immortal. Like, they continue to live. Like, I'm human. I will die in, like, 80 years or something. Is she that afraid of getting close to someone? A girl. Put yourself in her position for a change. Simona reached for Felonia herself. She cupped Fel's face in her hands, shielding it from the whole harsh, unwelcoming world. She poured all her gentleness and tenderness into the kiss, all her budding feelings. As soon as Felonia's hand settled timidly on her waist, she parted her lips. The wall Fel had built up for so long cracked. Desire seeped through, and she surrendered. Detecting the invitation, her tongue slipped into Simona's parted mouth. Simona felt herself sinking into something thick and sweet like honey. Felonia kissed her deeply, and slowly her fingers sliding hard only over her curves. I can't read anymore. She explored Simona unhurriedly, arousing and emptying her at the same time. Simona arched her back. The ship's cold railing burned her skin. Felonia pressed harder. Simona was to her taste. Both of them felt that the railing wouldn't be able to contain her growing passion much longer, and even the sea, if they were to meet it, wouldn't be able to cool them down. It would be funny if we really fell overboard. Period. Felonia bit her lower lip gently. Simona pulled her closer. And I don't care. At that moment, she really wanted to escape, and even if only the open sea could save them, Simona didn't mind. Inside, her feelings racked far stronger than the waves overboard. Felonia pulled away from her. She breathed into Simona's lips so quietly as if afraid she'd actually hear the words. This is all I can give you. Thanks for your help. The magical moment evaporated too quickly. A hole formed in Simona's chest right where her heart had been beating so eagerly just moments before. Why can't I have Mikael? I'm sorry, I feel so bad for, like, the Felonia shippers. But this was, like, my mistake. Like, I actually should have read the choice. But yeah. Let's actually take it in. Do you think I'm helping you for this? Simona didn't wait for an answer. Something flared up inside her, shame or resentment. She wasn't sure. Don't, Fel. Don't do that anymore. Her voice trembled, but Simona composed herself. If you want to run away, that's fine by me. I'll help you break free, I promise. And I don't need that kind of gratitude. A simple thank you will be enough. Her lips still burned from the kiss, but her cheeks burned even more. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. She couldn't have kissed me like that just out of gratitude. Nah, she couldn't. Simona bit the inside of her cheek, holding back the emotions that threatened to rise to the surface. She made her voice as cold as she could. Fine, let's forget about it. Her lips trembled. She couldn't stop it, just like she couldn't stop what she had felt a moment ago. So she simply walked away in silence, leaving Fel alone with her thoughts. Whatever Felonia has said, she won't be able to erase that kiss from her mind. Better, because she actually hurt my character's heart. She went to the other end of the ship to make herself useful somehow. She started looking around for at least something. Tired, she leaned over the railing a little and inhaled the salty sea air. Where could they have gone? Simona tried to imagine the circumstances that would make her jump overboard. The sea began to roar louder. Its whisper was filled with anxiety. It was as if it was trying to tell her the story of the cursed ship. It's like it's talking to me. Step away. No, I want to listen. Shut up. Like, let me do something I want for a change. Simona leaned over a little more and held her breath. The soothing song of the sea waves became even more enchanting. Of course. Why didn't I put one and one together? Like, the seaman or the sailor said that one man fell overboard and the other man jumped after him. in hope to save him. But we're at sea. This is a fantasy story in the middle of the sea. Sirens, they sing and they enchant sailors and they will jump overboard because of the sirens' songs. Oh God, oh God, oh God. The sailor, David, we need to protect them. I don't know if immortals actually have like a way to stop the sound. The soothing song of the sea waves became even more enchanting. It was like the most pleasant lullaby she had ever heard. Simona suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to go toward the call. Yeah, to dive in head first and wash away all her worries and fears. It felt like the dark water could actually help her with them. Do I really want this? Am I really so tired of everything that I want to drown myself? But why now? Why here in this part of the sea? The water suddenly seemed ominous. It was like it was hiding some kind of secret. Simona forced herself to tear her gaze away. She looked around. A shore with hideous rocks seemed unexpectedly close. The island caught her eye. It bared its teeth like shards of stone at the passing ship. First mate! We sailed this route with Doris for a reason. It was very scientific place, isn't it? The first mate approached soundlessly like a ghost. He stood beside her. Simona nodded uncertainly. She pointed to a small hollow under a rock overhang. Is there a grotto here? Yes, but we don't have tourists here. You have to swim underwater to get to the cave. We don't have a license for that, and it's dangerous. Did the police check it out? I doubt it. Why? Why would they? Well, the man didn't wait for a response. He continued his thought. If the ship had been abandoned here, it would most likely have drifted to the rocks. In general, I think your search is pointless. The sea won't give them up. Simona glanced at the grotto again. For some reason, she felt an intense desire to get there. Nothing in the cabin. David finished his work and leaned casually against the ship's railing. What are you two talking about? Doesn't that grotto look suspicious to you? David followed her gaze and shrugged. No, does it to you? Simona listened to her feelings again. Something was pulling her there, into the water, irresistibly. Maybe it's my intuition? Simona couldn't explain her strange urge, but she was sure that she was on the right track. The subconscious seems to think the answer is in there somewhere. Honestly, it does. When you get closer. Fine. While the owner and first mate discussed and changed their course, David waved Felonia over. Ready for a swim? Do you feel something? No, but we can check it out. I think they might have gone into that grotto. Why? Maybe something scared them and they decided to hide there? Or it attracted them? Felonia raised an eyebrow in response. Come on, let's check it out. I've got no other ideas anyway. There are no curses here. I don't even sense the presence of anyone like us. The first mate approached them with a pile of swimsuits in his hands. I can offer you swimsuits. You probably didn't bring any with you. David grimaced and stepped back dramatically. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't think I can find anything suitable here. Right. They were not planning a long swim anyway. Simona made the sensible decision to accept the offer. Felonia followed suit. I'm certainly not going to flaunt my underwear around here. Felonia was the first to change in the cabin. Cute. Your turn. Before going down, Simona couldn't help but let her gaze linger on Fel. The one-piece swimsuit hugged her slender, flawless body impressively. So that's what the body of a demon, a true temptress, looks like. Simona suddenly realized something with great clarity. If Fel uses her charms, it would be hard to resist them. She could seduce anyone. Hey, Simona. Simona quickly turned away and went into the cabin. Well, happens. On the table next to the unfinished cup of tea were several swimsuits for her to choose from. All right, let's see what we have here. Seductress, flirt. At this point, seductress. Let us be a seductress. There was no mirror in the cabin, so Simona hoped the swimsuit would fit decently as she went back upstairs. I can't. David's reaction was better than any mirror in giving her an idea of how she looked. His eyes lit up with a bright, enthusiastic fire. He approached her and stood close with a mysterious air about him. He whispered softly, "I could get Somnus for this assignment and his test. Though if he were here, I definitely wouldn't have passed it." Funny. Simona could physically feel his hungry gaze. It sent shivers down her spine. Well, guys, take lights in just in case. Who knows what we'll see on the water. The first mate had changed as well. He asked if everyone was ready. The question was mostly directed at David. Everyone stared at him expectantly. Just a second. He unbuttoned his shirt halfway in a laid-back manner. Then he deftly pulled it over his head and casually tossed it onto the railing. Bye! Not nipple piercings, I'm weak. Let's go. Simona let her eyes slide curiously over his bare chest. She felt a slight pang of disappointment that he'd taken off his shirt under such unromantic circumstances. Her gaze landed on a piercing in an unexpected spot. Very interesting. It was as if he was saying with a sly smile that things were about to get much more interesting. Simona blushed and looked away. Yeah. Falana noticed their playful exchange glances. She pursed her lips but said nothing. Simona was carried away by their flirting. She caught herself when the policewoman's expression became impenetrable. Simona stretched just in case, loosening her muscles. I love how we get to run through the woods and swim in the sea. David was the first to jump overboard. He leaped over the metal steps that descended into the water. Soon he was shoulder deep in the liquid darkness. He reached out and offered his hand to the ladies. By Falana pointedly refused. Her entire demeanor indicated that she'd rather drown than touch his outstretched hand. What a gentleman. Accept his help. Why not? Simona lowered her feet into the water. She sat on the edge and extended her hands in response. David gently squeezed her fingers and pulled her toward him. Not too fast. She had no time to feel the cold water. She was immediately enveloped by the heat of his body. David didn't miss the chance to take advantage of the dark water. He slid his hand discreetly along her waist. He squeezed her soft, yielding hips that drove him wild and pressed close for a moment to whisper, "Let's go, little witch." The first mate led the way. It's so hard for David to tear himself away from you. Well, you gotta learn. He cut slowly through the water surface with his outstretched hands and headed for the grotto. His feet occasionally surfaced for brief moments. They splashed noisily and showered those behind him with gray droplets. Time and time again, Simona caught herself thinking that she needed to get into the cave, as if it were a matter of life and death. Should I say something? Yes. Simona raised her head higher to avoid swallowing water. She tried to shout to those swimming nearby. Guys, I don't know why, but I really need to get in that cave. What do you mean? It's like a force is pulling me toward it. David met this statement with silence. Felonia's serious voice made her tense. Stay close to me, all right? All right? You decided to warn your team. This will affect the plot. I mean, if we're the only ones that actually feel this pull towards the cave, then in my eyes, if it's not sirens, then it must be the beast's influence around here somewhere, maybe. Like, we're the only ones feeling that way. Apparently, the boys feel nothing, and Felonia is not feeling anything either. We're just the only ones being affected by it. The cave was hidden under a rocky overhang. I'll check how long we'll need to swim underwater. Trembling ripples spread out where David had just been. After a while, the water surface calmed. Time slowed. It thickened and seemed disturbingly prolonged. Simona stared intently into the grotto. Why is he taking so long? As if reading her thoughts, Felonia reassured her. Don't worry, he won't drown. He can't. He swims that well? He holds his breath that well. Bye. He's immortal, of course. He probably can't even suffocate. Simona felt special, like she wasn't on a secret. She nodded and glanced at the first mate, but he wasn't paying attention to their chatter. If only he knew who he was swimming with so casually in the moonlight. David returned, and with him came a sense of calm. His wet curls clung to his face. He shook his head cheerfully, scattering droplets of water everywhere. Bye. I can't. Nice locks, by the way.
The swim isn't too long. Everyone can manage.
Simona took a deep, noisy breath and dove in. David and the first mate lit the way ahead with dim, murky light. Felonia followed behind. The increasing pressure seemed to make the water denser. Moving forward became more difficult. Simona slowed down without meaning to, but Felonia, swimming behind her urged her on with a barely perceptible touch. Nice one, Felonia. Simona gathered all her strength. She spread her arms wider and paddled faster. But the touch came again. Fingertips on her ankles left gentle trails that made her uneasy. Simona turned around. She stalled in the water as if suspended in jelly and took a closer look around. The water column playfully concealed her mischievous pursuer for a while, but then, unable to hide for long, it revealed itself. Oh God! At first Simona saw only its blurry silhouette, but soon it took on a clearer shade. I'm scared. Illuminated by the distant faint light of the torch, the creature appeared before her in all its glory. Oh God. Oh my God, what did I say? Sirens! Oh my goodness gracious. So it wasn't Felonia behind us, it was a siren. Felonia appeared. Oh, okay. Felonia appeared beside her as if from nowhere, snapping her out of her daze. She grabbed the evaluator by the hand and pulled her up, away from the terrifying creature. A moment later, Simona was able to take full breath. What the fuck is going on, period? We warned them. You share your concern with your colleagues. Felonia was ready to save you. Thank you very much. My goodness. Simona climbed onto the rocky shore. She immediately rushed to David. Oh my God, there's a siren in the water. No, bye. A real siren, God. David wasn't as terrified as she was. Instead, he let out a long groan and rolled his eyes.
Oh no, not those nasty creatures.
It seems there's only one of them. Felonia climbed out next and wrung out her hair.
Shall we dive together?
Well, if you want to wrestle with the slippery creature at the bottom first, I can wait. I'll give you some time. Bye. David expressed his opinion with an exceptionally sour expression.
Yeah, Felonia.
Bye. I mean, a son. You're used to being a womanizer. Period. I love this snotchy petty because of the complicity between us and David. Are you really going back in the water? Seriously? You're gonna make me worry like that?
Well, we could just stay and live in this cave.
Period. I love this. He's like, either way, if we have to. The first mate had been silently stunned the whole time. He finally spoke up.
Are you serious, siren? What the hell? You're a sailor. Don't you believe in sirens?
The look on the man's face showed how much he doubted David's sanity. His sanity.
Listen, it's clear that the people we're looking for aren't here. We can swim back.
No one stopped the man, but what did stop him from making a fatal mistake was the face that slowly emerged above the surface of the water. Period. She said, I'm back, bitches. I'm weak. Now you're shutting the fuck up. Okay, now. Son, do I need to worry about your sanity?
Get back against the wall, Simona.
She backed away obediently. She watched in horror as her colleagues dived back into the water and disappeared after the siren. A heavy silence descended over the cave. Even the first mate stepped back from the edge of the shore and fell silent. What if they don't come back? Not a celestial, so beat its ass. Icy cold gripped her limbs. Simona imagined an hour passing, then 2, then 24. Bye! How she tried to get back to the ship, but as soon as she approached the water, the creature's face would appear. Like a vulture, the siren would wait. It would wait for the desire to escape to outweigh the fear, for dehydration to make her dizzy, for drowning to no longer seem like such a terrible death. Why are they taking so long? Finally, the water churned and trashed wildly. The siren beat its long tail against the surface. It struggled to free itself from fragile Felonia's iron grip. David grimaced in disgust and held it down. He gripped its neck and pressed the creature's head against him. Are they dragging it here? I mean, if it's really a siren and it can get back to the water, then it will die. Simona pressed her back against the wall. She suddenly realized just how little space there was in this grotto. The siren was sprawled onto the shore. Its tail alone took up nearly a third of the space. The creature hissed and screamed. It kept trying to sink its teeth into David's neck, but he held it tightly. Valonia finally released the creature's tail. She swore and approached its head.
You don't belong here, and we can send you back. Sorry.
Sensing something, the creature thrashed harder. The hissing turned into a long, pitiful wail. Are they going to kill it? It's the right thing to do. Honestly, this bitch tried to kill us. In my eyes, you leave me alone, I leave you alone. And so if you actually intended to actually make me come there so that you can kill me, it's the right thing to do. Bye. This creature clearly killed everyone on the ship. It doesn't belong in this world. It's the law of nature. It's either us or it. Valonia shoved her hands into the siren's mouth. She grabbed its upper jaw with one hand and its lower jaw with the other. Blood began to flow down her arms. It was clearly her own, but she paid no attention to the pain. Slowly and with sickening sound, the creature's flesh, tendons, and then bones tore apart. The siren's torn jaw dangled from a thin strip of skin, but the creature kept hissing. It was unclear if it was cursing or just in pain. It writhed and bled and scratched at the stones, trying to crawl back into the water, but Valonia held it firmly by its long, scaly tail.
Good thing it only managed to eat 5 and no one made a fuss.
The first mate mumbled something incoherent and tried to voice his opinion, but the shock had rendered him speechless. The poor man couldn't take his eyes off the siren. His own jaw had dropped, and a thin stream of drool was trickling down his chin. We should snap him out of it.
Finish it, Phil.
Valonia dragged the siren to the center of the cave and let it go. She began to flex and unflex her fingers. As she warmed up, the creature tried to crawl away again, but Fel wouldn't let it. She stretched her hand out. Valonia's skin began to pulse with red light, as if molten lava was flowing beneath it. Then suddenly the creature burst into flames. It was as if it were made entirely of dry wood twigs. Oh my goodness, that's a nice scene. The cave was filled with bright light and human screams. Simona could not watch the creature writhe in agony. She turned away. She covered her nose with her hand to block out the suffocating stench of burnt fish and scorched human flesh. Simona stared blankly at the wall and tried to suppress her gag reflex. She did notice the etchings at first. There was a message on the stone surface. It was scratched out in nervous, jagged handwriting. It's in the water. We can't get out. So they really were in this cave? Or was it someone else? Someone no one even bothered to look for? Within seconds, all that was left of the siren was black ash. The fire went out. The lighting changed. It returned to the dim attempts of the flashlights to illuminate the small space. David's expression was one of displeasure. He tried to wash the stench off his hands, but the seawater didn't help much.
Great, we can swim back.
Simona glanced cautiously at the terrified first mate. He clearly wasn't planning on reacting to anything. He sat motionless, staring ahead. He seemed to have stopped blinking.
Oh really, so sailors don't dream of seeing a mermaid after all?
Even if they do, wanting it and seeing it are two different things.
Can he swim?
I don't think he can. The man couldn't even close his mouth or wipe the drool away.
Looks like he won't have to erase his memory after all.
David finally smiled. He walked toward the water.
Alright, let's go. We'll tell the captain that the first mate stayed here. We'll pick him up later.
We're leaving him?
Yes.
No.
But we'll tell the captain where he is.
Simona pushed David lightly on the shoulder and frowned. Sometimes I'm just amazed at your humanity, honestly. What if he falls in the water and drowns? It was clear that her words didn't affect her colleagues in the least. Valonia was the first to give in. She had apparently decided that it would be easier to just take the man with them than to convince Simona to leave him behind.
I'll take him. I'll swim so fast that he won't have time to drown.
Sorry. She grabbed the man by the scruff like a kitten and dragged him to the water.
No, you.
Simona glanced at the water. Suddenly she was afraid too. Are you sure there aren't more of those creatures down there?
I'm sure, Simona. Do you trust me?
Simona nodded uncertainly and stepped toward him.
If you're scared, I can help you swim the distance.
Yes. Please help me. Please. I'm so incompetent.
And close your eyes, Simona.
She obeyed willingly and felt goosebumps spread over her skin. Fear turned to excited anticipation, and David didn't disappoint. His soft lips brushed against her temple with gentle, weightless touch. David kissed her cheekbones, her cheeks, her eyelids. Cute. I'm sorry. I'm simping. Cute. He was trying to ignite feelings in her. He was trying to calm them. He caught the drops of water trickling down her face with his lips. He kissed away her fears and worries.
I'll rid you of everything and everyone. Just say the word.
Simona longed for a drop to touch her lips, but it betrayed her and slipped lower. David kissed her chin. Come on, kiss him yourself. At this point, Simona couldn't resist. Without opening her eyes, she found his face with her hands and pulled him closer. She covered his lips with hers, and she lost herself in an innocent but intoxicating kiss. But David held back and kept his lips closed. He enjoyed the tenderness she gave him. He didn't seek more, and only God knew how hard it was for him. This man, he really not trying to do anything. He's willing to allow us to dictate the pace. The respect. It doesn't matter what anyone says about him. He would never hurt me. He wouldn't, but he would kill for you, and that's dangerous, girl. That's actually worrying. But all of them would do the exact same thing, so... For a moment, there was a flash of sharp, agonizing satisfaction deep inside her. Simona remembered what Valonia had said. She wanted to lose herself even more in David's arms. Here's someone who isn't afraid of their feelings, Val. Woo! Here's someone I'd happily give all my feelings to since you don't need them. Not her actually being petty like that. I mean, at this point, but... Like, give him to me. Like... It's the truth. He is not afraid. Simona pressed herself against him so hard that she felt the cold metal of his piercing, the only cool part of him. David's skin burned, warming every cell in her body with his tight embrace. Simona pulled away and looked into his eyes, shy apologetically. You'll fail the test because of me. I'm sorry. His mischievous smile made it clear that he wasn't upset. It spoke louder than any words.
I don't stand a chance, Simona.
The test here was if he would be capable to actually resist us, right?
I know that the moment I saw you in Michael's office, the moment I looked into your eyes.
Reckless. What punishment awaits you? David allowed his fingertips to glide along her neck. He lifted her chin and whispered against her lips.
No punishment in the world, Simona, could compare to the torture of not touching you.
Bye. Again. He's such a good talker. Like, he can talk. Like, he makes me weak.
Of seeing you, not kissing you.
Bye. Simona had no idea that he was capable of such tenderness. She dissolved in the kiss, as did everything around her. Everything disappeared. The outline of the grotto, the ashes underfoot.
If you want to, there won't be anyone around. Just you and me, Simona.
She was entranced by his words. She was ready to stay with him forever in that damn cave. David, well aware of the power he had over her, interrupted his sincere speech.
Close your eyes, don't think about anything.
His whisper enveloped her. The scent of mint replaced the smell of burnt flesh, banishing all horrors. His hands roamed over her back, soothing her, never going too far. And though his heart beat wildly, all his movements were smooth and gentle. They were almost chaste. It could have passed for innocence itself right now, if not for his quickened breath burning her skin, if not for his voice slightly hoarse, hiding so many unspoken desires.
Are you ready to go with me?
Without opening her eyes, Simona whispered, Anywhere. David backed toward the water and pulled her along, never breaking their embrace. Simona felt the water rise with each step. It slid over her calves and thighs, trying to engulf her again, but there was no room left. No room left for anything but David and his warmth, and there was no room for fear. They had to tell the captain that the first mate had gotten caught on a ledge in the cave and nearly drowned. The man hardly believed it, but he believed in the curse even more. To avoid more victims, he promised to burn the ship to the free souls of the missing crew, and never to endanger other poor souls again. The Astreans didn't know how to react. They simply agreed. They didn't stay long. They said goodbye to the sea that had stirred their hearts and went home. Well, damn. Can I see Mikael now? Can I? Is that an option? Somnus and Furious weren't in Astrea, so Simona kept all the impressions of the assignment to herself. David had no intention of going to them anyway. He said right on the doorstep that a hot bath was much more important to him right now. The women agreed with his idea and went their separate ways. Before going to her room, Simona decided to take a walk in the garden. She visited her wolf and collected her thoughts. The garden no longer seemed frightening. When she heard a rustle, she turned instinctively toward it. CASSIEL came to the statue of Astrea through his own hidden path, well concealed from prying eyes. You usually sneak up on me without a sound.
I know you were here, daydreaming as always. I was trying to get your attention so you wouldn't clutch at your heart later.
Oh, well, thank you. Simona was genuinely touched by his concern. She moved aside, inviting him to sit beside her on the bench. CASSIEL came closer but didn't sit down.
I heard someone sent you to a siren. Is that true?
Yes, have you ever seen any?
Yes, once. It wasn't a very interesting story.
An interesting story about a real siren. Ask him to tell it. Tell me about it.
Why? You'll have nightmares.
We just wrestled with a siren ourselves. CASSIEL continued to surprise her with his unintrusive care. He looked at her as if she were a fickle child. Felonia literally tore the creature's mouth apart right in front of me. And then burned it alive. I'm going to have nightmares anyway. Your silence won't save me. I can't. That was funny.
Alright, just one story.
CASSIEL dug through the depths of his memory. He spoke slowly.
I was still a child when I crashed into a flying island during a flight.
A flying island?
Just one story, Simona, and no more questions.
Simona fell silent under his heavy stern gaze. She quickly covered her mouth with her hand.
My wing hadn't finished regenerating, and I fell into the water. The sirens attacked me almost immediately. There were too many, and I was too small.
Aww.
They dragged me to the bottom in less than a minute.
CASSIEL fell sadly silent. Simona slowly lowered her hand from her face. She waited for a few seconds, then whispered softly, "It sounds like the story ended and you died."
No, I didn't.
I don't think you can die. Oh my god, the hell, right, because they're immortal. And I'm not sure if that's also a thing. Like they said, only mortals can kill you if they have the intention to do it. But does that exclude sirens, as in only angels and demons can kill one another? Because if that is a thing, then technically he would be experiencing the exact same emotions that humans would, as in drowning, but since he's immortal, he would wake up in, I don't know, a minute, 5 minutes, and then the drowning process will continue. But if they actually would count as like the immortals and would be capable to actually drown you, then maybe they didn't have the intention to do so. They would drown him, and then they would repeat it after he regained consciousness, because he's immortal, he can die.
They drowned me all night long.
What do you mean?
Sirens can kill an immortal.
Okay. Alright. So it's only demons and angels can kill one another. Okay.
And their charms don't work on us.
That's why they did not... Wait! So what about that sailor then on the ship? He said their charms don't work on us, so that means that this story actually includes both genders when it comes to sirens, because the legend says that sirens are capable to draw sailors, as in male sailors, to the
I don't know, into the middle of the ocean, and then they force them like to drown themselves or something. Or in this story particularly, they actually get them to the middle of the ocean, and then they have them jump into the water, and then they eat them. But since they were immortals, the charm doesn't work on them. But we were human, / we are human, so their charms worked on us. They hunt more primitive creatures, animals, and humans. I was choking on water and fighting back until my older sister found me. She sensed me even through the depths of the water. She helped me break free. Cassiel glanced at the statue and fell silent again. Now that's the sister that is buried here, right? Her sister is buried here. Yeah. Simona tried not to give herself away. She smiled warmly. I can only imagine what you look like. Cassiel didn't take the joke well. His answer was so frank that it completely dispelled the humor. Like a drowned person, what else? I was underwater for so long. That was the end of Cassiel's story. Well, thanks. Well, that's a cautionary tale, thanks. He nodded and gave her a tired smile. Cassiel was happy to share his past with you. I have the feeling, though, that we hurt his feelings with that joke that he didn't take well. But if you say so, Sonny. Anyway, I've got something for you. For me? Cassiel had been holding some sort of amulet in his fist the whole time. Now it lay on his outstretched palm. I don't like the game that Thomas is playing. I don't like that he's putting you in danger. Aww. And until we solve this problem, promise me you'll wear this amulet, please. What does it do? That's cute. But what does it do? Simona looked at the trinket warily. She asked, how will it help me? When there's danger near you, the amulet will start to heat up. Just a little at first, but the closer the danger gets, the harder it will burn. Okay. I get it now. I was like, I don't know, will it create some sort of barrier around us so that the danger can't hit us? But no, this is like an amulet that will help us sense the danger, as in the closer a danger gets, the more it will heat up until it will be unbearable for us. Because the necklace will technically burn her skin then, at a certain point, the closer the danger gets. Okay. Sounds like a game where you say warmer as you get closer to the object you're looking for. Yes, but if this amulet activates, you need to run. Do you hear me? Well, it will be a little difficult to run away. Like, imagine that the danger is standing behind you. Where do I run to? But fine. If none of us are around, run. Don't think. Don't try to find the source. Got it? Simona saw guilt in Cassiel's eyes. Sonny, it's not your fault. Is he torturing himself over what happened to me in the village? This is such a cute thing. Like, they all kind of feel responsible for what happened. And that's such a cute thing to say. But is it really his fault? Ask him to help you put the amulet on. Yes. Got it. Will you help me put it on? Cassiel moved behind her and paused for a moment. He didn't move her hair out of the way first. She tugged on the chain so tightly that Simona almost stopped breathing. I should have done it myself. Luckily, he took care of it quickly so she didn't have time to suffocate. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going inside. I suggest you get some rest as well. Cassiel gave her a paternally stern look, then walked slowly toward the house. Cassiel is always happy to help you, though it doesn't always go as planned. I think that was the cutest thing ever. What did they write? Paternally. He is a dad for us. Like the older brother that we always wanted to have, sort of, if you get my view. Like, he could make a great lover, don't get me wrong, but in my eyes, he is like the older brother that I always wanted to have, sort of. I mean, bromance, we can't really call him brother because you don't want to date your brother. But he's kind of like family, you know? And in my eyes, family love is much more powerful than romantic love. Because family is supposed to be always by your side no matter what. Like, you actually fight all the damn time, but the second that someone is not feeling well or they're in danger, they're immediately zooming. Simona sat for a while longer before finally feeling a long-awaited drowsiness. What's wrong? Did we fall asleep? She was sure that tonight's nightmare would come to her in the form of a siren with a torn mouth. Maybe the creature would drag her underwater, or maybe she'd find herself in the cave in the total darkness and utter loneliness, along with the realization that death awaited her in the water. Like, this is such an awful way to, like, go to bed. But even such grim thoughts couldn't rob the exhausted evaluator of the desire to sleep. I'm ready to fight monsters all night as long as I don't dream of my father. No cold, no damn beast. Simona closed her eyes. She deliberately thought of the sea. She fell asleep, lulled by the memory of its waves. But that wasn't what she dreamed of. The same familiar dream repeated itself, the same room, the same hand on her shoulder, the same fear. Simona waited for the door to reappear in the wall. She felt like she was burning from the inside. The unbearable heat radiated from her heart and spread over her skin. Simona whimpered softly. She clutched at her nightgown as if she wanted to rip out the painful organ. Her father's concise speech didn't go as planned. "That's our father." "What is that? What is the devilish instrument, Simona? Why did you bring it into our home?" Simona didn't understand what he meant. She scratched at her skin. She wanted only one thing, to get rid of the heat. Yeah, the amulet from CASSIEL. Her father's hand reached for her chest to tear out the burning heart. Only then did Simona wake up. God, what kind of dream was that? Simona was drenched in sweat. She subconsciously touched her chest and immediately pulled her hand away. The amulet CASSIEL had given her burned unbearably. Yeah, dangerous close, but I think it's always hilarious that we keep on dreaming of the exact same thing. And if it isn't the beast, then I want to actually get rid of Furious and whatever the other man's name was. Because I'm tired of actually repeating the same nightmare again and again and again. Like, you're not gonna get me out of that fucking house. God damn it. But we will see what next episode will be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.